welcome to Carswell's Customs. Been a while since I made a video. Got a new job, yay! And I got ran off the expressway and totaled my Explorer. Boo, right? Twin turbo, everything, police package. You've seen some other videos with me inspecting them. So, a lot going on, but I did make it out because my charger's been making a crazy ticking sound up on the top end. Deleted a lot of the footage on accident, so we're gonna have to just jump right in here with the camshaft out and the engine taken apart and putting a new one in. So let's go ahead and take a look at the cam and see why it was ticking. So we're taking a look here at the camshaft after we pulled it out, and we've got a pretty wild little journal here. Got some chips out of it. Whoops, there we go. And you can see that the finish is gone off of it as well. And we have another one right next to it. Looks pretty awesome. So these two, then you can see finish is being, you know, worn or rubbed off a lot of these journals. See that? That's cute. That's nice. That's pretty cool too. We've got chipping out of this one too. Here. So, yeah, this made some noise. The rollers aren't in terrible shape. They do have some discoloration and some scratches and stuff on them, and they are pretty loose side to side. I know that's not a killer, but they are kind of loose and noisy. So we're going to put put a new camshaft and lifters in it, and then we'll adjust the tune. I'll go ahead and share the tune once I get it done, and we'll go from there. Okay, cam phaser limiter installation. I'm just going to buzz through this because there's plenty of videos, step-by-step videos online on how to do this. So I'm just going to rock through it and go for it. So, quick tip to keep these guys, these Torx bits inside a socket. I usually put tape around those, and then what you'll do is you'll jam it in here so the Torx bit doesn't fall out when you're using it or when you're pulling the bolts out. This is really important with the cam retaining plate, so this guy doesn't jump down into the oil pan on you. So. There we go. So I marked this one, we keep that one in, but we've knocked the rest of these out. Looks like this one's a little bit longer than the rest, and that would be this guy here. Okay, so our limiter goes in. We go from this bolt into here, and this goes, the cutout goes in towards the deal. There it goes. Now the long bolt with the little end goes in here, and then we'll put these three back in there. So what we'll do is we'll clean these off. Apply some blue Loctite and then torque them to 14 foot-pounds. Alright, so these are all torqued down, got Loctite on them. Go ahead and get this thing out. Ta-da! Now that limiter is in, and so before I start it up, I got to get into the computer and limit, hang on, wait for it. Make sure the retard amount entered for any of the cam phaser tables in your tuning does not exceed 14 degrees. So we'll make sure we limit that at 14 degrees. All right, let's talk camshafts. Here's the number of the camshaft on the lifters I got from Summit. It's the Thumpr version, and yeah, gonna put it right in. Ooh, a little more oil. Okay, there she is. Alright, so I put a bunch of marks on this block and camshaft components to make sure that this is an easy reinstall. And once I line all these up, I'll tell you my methodology when we get there. So the camshaft, a lot of these things are all just pointed straight up. So we're going to rotate the cam here. So that little peg's up in the air, and you'll notice I made some marks up here and here, down here, and even on the oil pump here. See if I can get it. Yep. So everything lined up. Heck, I even marked the chain, so you'll see that once we get there. I've got everything lined up, so when I reassemble it, it's on top dead center, number 1. Alright, cam retainer plate. Try not to drop these in the oil pan since we've made it so far. These call for 20 foot-pounds, so let's get on that. Okay. There it goes. Alright, well, we'll take a look here, make sure all the dots line up, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so everything's finger tight, and you can see all the marks I made on the phaser, the chain, the block, the crankshaft, and all the way down to the water pump. So I can verify that everything going back exactly the way I took it apart. So it wasn't that difficult to set up, really. What I did was, when I got the cam and lifters out, grab my camera here, I went inside the, put a flashlight inside the lifters, the lifter bores here, And so at first, when the piston was at the top dead center position, I saw one of the camshaft lobes was pointing at the lifter, indicating that the exhaust was open because it was on the exhaust stroke. So I rotated the engine 180 degrees to where this piston was at top dead center. And then I looked at some of the markings on the timing gear itself inside there, and it's got a little tiny mark. You'll probably see it. It's like a little divot in there. And everything else just seemed to line up perfectly. So that's what I use for a reference mark, and it looks like it's going back together. So I guess we'll see when it fires up if that theory was correct. A little bit of gasket change here. I got some new Fel-Pros. Again from Summit. I get everything from Summit. Their customer service is the best. No, they don't sponsor the channel. They're just the best. That's all there is to it. So ta-da! Rear. New front gasket. There we go. We seeing that? Yeah. Cool. That'll go in there. And a brand new green one. Clean this up and get her installed. So before I get this cleaned up too good, you can see in here there's some gasket material, RTV material in here. So when we reassemble, we'll put a little tiny dab in there too that ties this timing cover to the oil pan down here. We'll put just the smallest amount on where the oil pan and this timing cover meet. Just the tiniest bit. I've got the ultra gray I'll put on there. So yay! Ta-da! So one of the cool things about this disassembly was there was enough room to pull the cylinder head off with the exhaust manifold on. That was going to be a real pain in the butt, because if you look at the police package charger, there's just not a whole lot of room to get in here. There's probably not a lot of room in any of the Chargers or Challengers. Probably very limited, but boy oh boy, it sure would be difficult to get your hand up by that front differential mounting and all the nonsense in here. So super happy there's enough room to pull this out with just leaving the exhaust manifolds on. So there's a top tip. But I am going to have to get these studs out, these exhaust manifold to catalytic converters, because the other ones on disassembly snapped off. And they're not pressed in, they're threaded. So this might take some fun to get these guys to back out. So we'll update you on that as I'm going along. And then what I'm also going to do is take one of the old cylinder head bolts and grind a channel down it and open this up and make a thread chasing tool. So when I install the new cylinder head bolts, they'll be grabbing into clean threads in the engine block. I do the same thing with LS's. When I'm rebuilding LS's, I'll take some of the bolts and just cut a channel out, so that way I'm not using a tap and cutting material out of the cylinder head. I'm actually just using a bolt and cleaning the threads. So anyway, that's the way I like to do it. So I'll make one out of this big guy here, and then we'll figure out how to get these studs out, and then get an update going. Alright, so here's our super duper cleaner bolt. I took a Dremel and a cut-off wheel from a Dremel and just ran it right down the center of the bolt here to make the channel, and we'll go get to it. Okay, this one isn't too bad. I did pull out some gunk. Okay, so exhaust manifold to catalytic converter studs. On the other cylinder head, I welded a nut to this stud, and the stud just broke right off inside the cast iron here. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting out the middleman. I'm just going to cut this thing off here, cut the top off here, and then center punch it, run a drill through it, and get these things out. They're in there pretty hard. Haven't had any in this deep before, or this corroded in. So here's the awesomeness. We'll drill that out, then we'll drill that one out. We'll get a little bit better on center, because that's, ooh, there's my finger, there you go. Get that going, and then we'll put in the new studs, and we can start on the reassembly process. Okay, we're going to start putting the other side lifters in. These have been marinating for about 3 days, so get these guys out here. These are the Comp Cams lifters. Non-multiple displacement. Da-da-da. 7 more to go. Alright, now I'll wipe off all this oil. I'll wipe the block deck off with acetone, and then we'll be able to put the brand new Fel-Pro gaskets on, and then slap cylinder head on. Cool. So here's our brand new Mahle cylinder head bolts. Some places say don't put them in oil, some places say put them in oil, but since these cylinder head bolts do not go all the way through the block, I'm going to average everybody's idea and put a little bit of oil on it and just wipe off the excess, so I'm not dropping a bunch of stuff into that bolt hole, because there's no exit in the cylinder head. If you put too much oil in, then what you're going to do is try to compress that oil with the bolt, and fluids don't compress, and you'll rip the threads out of the block. So this has just been lubricated well. Now we got all the excess off. Go ahead and drop her in. Tighten her down, and we'll do that for the rest of them. There we go, a little bit of oil, but not enough to drip in, so. Alright, second set of exhaust manifold to converter studs are installed, drilled and tapped and replaced with that part number. So the tap, if you have the unfortunate luck, is a 10 millimeter by 1.5, and it calls for a 11/32 drill. So awesome. Those are on. That's clean. gonna go in here and I'm gonna line up the converter with the exhaust manifold bolts, slide those in, pop the cylinder head on, and then we're going for it. Okay, so two different head gaskets, a left side and a right side. And how do you tell left from right is if you're sitting in the driver's seat of the vehicle and looking out forward. This would be on your right hand side, that's on your left hand side. Okay. Oh wow, did that go the first time? No way. Wow, how about that? Well, there you go. It's just that easy. No, actually it's not, but sometimes you get lucky. I am thankful those cylinder heads aren't cast iron though. Wow, that'd be fun. Anyhow, all right, moving on. So we got the cylinder heads torqued down and then got the rocker arms, or rocker shafts and arms all in position, and rotated the engine a couple times, quite a few times, just to make sure there's no interference. Now we're moving to installing the front timing cover accessories. So I placed a little bit of RTV in the stock position, and we're going to put that front timing cover on and then start getting this thing done. So